Sairam. With pronounced at the lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagavan, dear brothers and sisters, Christmas season started. We hear of a cake which is under preparation that would make a world record, both quality and quantity. We also hear of a Christmas tree getting ready in Germany that will have about 6,000 lights there, or 7,000 if I'm right. We also find festivity and gaiety that started already. Then I thought, why not we also get into Christmas mood? Why not we also get into that Christmas thoughts? This morning, my friends, I would like to talk to you on Christmas. For the coming weeks, until we welcome the new year, we'll have more of biblical approach coupled with Sai message. We sincerely believe in the unity of religions, which we should show in action, not simply by precept. By trying to know the message from the Holy Bible, the Scripture, finding parallels to the Sai teachings, we prove ourselves to be ideal devotees of Sai. It was said that Krishna was born in a divine way. The birth of Krishna was totally divine, spiritual. It is not normal. Indications of Krishna's birth is also associated with several happenings around. It's a big story, you know. So also birth of Sri Ramachandra is also not normal. It was also totally divine and spiritual. Good Lord Jesus Christ, but is also not normal. He was born because of the will of God. At a time when Mary gave birth, the husband refused to accept the child. Then he heard the ethereal voice that the birth of child is due to the divine will. So also Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, whose birth is not normal. Bhagavan's birth is because of the divine will. It's not normal. People ask Swami, Swami, is it normal? Bhagavan said, no. Somebody asked, Bhagavan's mother Ishwaramma, is it normal, usual? No. So in a sentence I can say, Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Bhagavan Baba, they have taken up the human form because of their will. They wanted it, therefore they are born. This is quite different from our life. We are born not because of our will. We have to solve, we have to face the consequences and the results of our past actions to clear off the bills we are born here. For all the expenditure we made in the past life, for all the credit cards, we have to pay now. But God's birth is not like that. He wanted, therefore is born. Therefore, the birth of a master, the birth of a divine master is not an usual thing. It was the star in the midnight that appeared. A star started moving across the path, which guided wise men to follow the star to the birthplace of Jesus Christ. The wise men do not belong to the same place. The wise men from different corners assembled there, guided by that star. And the star guided these wise men to the place of birth of Jesus Christ. Wise men bowed down to the feet of the newborn baby and offered all the presentations they brought, gifts they brought, the gold, the incense and bolum as an offering to the newborn babe. They were thrilled and excited. Similar thing had happened when Bhagavan was born. Instruments started playing on their own at the place. There was nobody to play any instrument. Instruments started playing on their own. What a wonderful sight it is. When Krishna was born, an ethereal voice is heard. Don't worry, this child has to be taken away from this place because there is another villain waiting to kill him, Kamsa. When Rama was born, there was shower, a rain of flowers at that place. When Lord Buddha was born, there was flowering of plants during unseasoned period. Fruits are present everywhere, though it was not the season. Meaning, my friends, the nature rejoices the birth of an avatar. Be that Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Christ. Nature rejoices. The nature celebrates the birth of avatar. This Christmas season, what a wonderful climate we have. Wonderful climate we have. The trees, the flowers, the greenery. Very beautiful, enjoyable season. This is Christmas season. The nature celebrates, nature rejoices over the birth of Jesus Christ. The star guiding the wise men to the place of birth of Jesus Christ was mentioned in Matthew's Gospel, 2nd chapter, verse 9. And the offerings made by wise people, wise men from different corners to the newborn babe of Bethlehem was mentioned in Matthew's Gospel, 2nd chapter, verse 11. And the ethereal voice declared the name to be given to the newborn child. See that. Parents have not named the newborn baby. Rama was not named by Dasharatha. Krishna was not named by his parents. They were named by priests, prophets, the Vasishtha. Krishna was named by Gargya. Like that, The name of the newborn babe of Bethlehem was pronounced by the ethereal voice. What does it say? Don't worry. This baby is born because of divine will. Own the child. Don't suspect Mary for any reason. And this child will glorify the whole world. And the newborn baby shall be named as Yesu. Yesu is the name given by the ethereal voice to the newborn baby. Yesu means what? The word Yesu means the one who protects you. Protection. Who can protect you other than God? None can protect anyone. It's only God who can protect us. Therefore, the name pronounced by the ethereal voice is Yesu, given to the newborn babe of Bethlehem, the protector. According to Matthew's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 21. We say the Divine Master. Baba means father, for information. Baba means father. In North India, we find many people addressing their dad as Baba, Baba in some families. Baba means father, the protector. At the family level, it is the father who takes care of the children, who protects the entire family as the head of the family. God being the head of this universe, He takes the role of a father in giving protection to the entire cosmos. So the name Yesu given to Him, Baba. And then you also hear another name given to the newborn babe. The ethereal voice, Matthew's Gospel, chapter 1, verse 23, says this way: this child will follow you like a shadow. This child will protect you like an eyelid. This child shall never forsake you. This child is always with you, be sure of it. This child will support the entire humanity. And the child will be called Emmanuel. Emmanuel. Jesus has another name, Emmanuel. Emmanuel means the one who is always with you. Always with you. That's what Bhagavan Baba says. I am in you, with you, around you, above you, below you. I am you. Meaning you can never be away from Baba. It is impossible to get away from Him because He is in you, above you, below you, around you, and you are Baba. How can you be away from yourself? You cannot. So this is what Emmanuel meant. So Yesu, the protector, the father, Emmanuel, the divine mother. The mother is always with the child. The child is always willing to be in the company of the mother. Child will never leave the mother. And mother has all her concern on the child. That is what Sai. In Sai, I means mother, is a divine mother, Emmanuel. Baba, the father, protector, Yesu. So Yesu, Emmanuel meant Sai Baba. Yesu plus Emmanuel is equal to Sai Baba. Am I clear? That's what it is. For that I am giving you the scriptural authority together with Baba's quotations also. I would also bring to your attention another point. It is always said, Jesus of Nazareth. The Nazareth is a familiar word which is always associated with Jesus. What do you mean by Nazareth? Nazareth means superhuman. Nazareth means divine. Nazareth means transcendental. Transcendental. Jesus of Nazareth, meaning not simply human, not ordinary human, superhuman, extraordinary, divine. Bhagavan said in his discourses, I am not a human. I am not a child. I am not a celibate. I am not a householder. I am not a recluse. I am not a renunciant. I am the truth, declared Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. So he is not simply human. Even if you want to test him practically, scientifically, you will conclude that he is not an ordinary human. If you observe his dietary habits, eating 2 spoons of food and to be active all round the day, impossible for any human. To do so much of work round the clock, guiding international organizations, heads of governments, responding to the call of the devotees, is not an ordinary thing. He is superhuman, totally divine by any standard. Therefore, my friends, Nazareth meaning transcendental, beyond. So Bhagavan is very much true to the word Nazareth, being totally divine. Not only that, Jesus clearly said to his disciples, follow me, follow me. Follow me. What do you mean by that, follow me? We follow many people for many reasons. We find a big political following. We find a big following to union leaders. But what does Jesus mean when he says to his disciples, follow me? Meaning, follow his life. Follow the life of Jesus so that you may begin to love everybody. Follow the life of Jesus so that you may be prepared to sacrifice even your life for the sake of humanity. Follow the life of Jesus so that you may give and forgive. Follow me is the statement of Jesus. According to John chapter 13 verse 15, that's what he says, follow me. Bhagavan made it very clear, one statement. My life is my message. My life is my message. Swami, what message would you give us? He doesn't give you a message that runs to pages and pages. He doesn't give you discourses again and time and again. No. Discourses would not bring any change. Messages would not bring any change. Therefore Baba said, my life is my message. Baba said, my life is my message. Follow him, follow him. So when Jesus says, follow me, it is as much as Bhagavan saying, my life is my message. We see Swami how humble, how simple he is. Somebody asked Swami, how shall we serve you? And Swami said, you don't have to serve me. I am serving you. I have come to serve you. You don't have to serve me, no. Therefore, God has come as the servant, not as a boss. God has come down as to serve you, not to rule you or govern you. That's what Baba says, I have come to serve you. And he said to a group of people who came here, thank you, Swami. And he says, don't thank me. I should thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you. Lord Krishna served Arjuna. Krishna was never the ruler. He was never the king. He was the king maker. He can make anybody a king. Yes. He served. Krishna served like that no one can ever serve. He had to bear all the injuries. He had to bear the heavy bleeding. He had to clean the horses every day. He had to take full responsibility of Arjuna, that master sitting there. Krishna was only a charioteer, car driver. He was not the owner. Lord Sri Ramachandra spent most of the time in exile in the forest. He was not anxious to rule. When his brother said, "Come on, take back your kingdom," he says, "I don't. You do it." Buddha renounced his kingdom. "I don't want it," said Lord Buddha. That's what it is. Matthew 20th chapter, verses 26 to 28. Whoever wants to become great among you must be a servant. Very difficult to hear it. Because we are very anxious to be conveners, coordinators, presidents, ministers, bosses, administrators, top officials. And we ask everybody, how many people are going to be under me? We don't say how many people are going to work with me. No. So many should be under me. When we are anxious to be bosses, heads, here is God, He says, you must be a servant. So, whosoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first must be your slave. And now say what example he gives. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Please note this point. The Son of Man has come to serve and not to be served. What a statement it is. When Pandavas conducted Rajasuya Yajna, Krishna said, please assign me some responsibility, some duty. They said, no, the whole yajna is for you. No. Please give me some sevadal work here. Let me serve you, said Krishna. So, Lord Himself is very anxious to serve you. Bhagavan will be so happy to distribute saris all by Himself. He will be very happy to distribute prasadam all by Himself. That's what it is. I have come to serve and not to be served. You watch a Swami, it will be very interesting. When children play, he will be watching their play and behaves one with them. When the crackers display, fireworks, he will be watching like a child. What it is? Like a child. He plays with people like a child. God is an eternal child. There is a section of Christians who worship infant Jesus. Infant Jesus. Jesus on the lap of Mother Mary. God is eternal child. Krishna is eternal child. Vatapatra Shai. Vatapatra Shai. The child Krishna reclining on the leaf, sucking his own toe. Perhaps it is so sweet. The child Krishna. The divine sport of Krishna as a child is very interesting. Similarly, Jesus says clearly, my friends, you should be like a child to enter into the gates of heaven. Child means what? Innocence. Childishness is foolishness. Don't be childish, meaning don't be foolish. Be like a child means be innocent. Child represents innocence. Therefore, if you are innocent, pure, fresh, fragrant, empty, void, without any prejudices, without any thoughts, without any settled notions, without any divisions, factions, notions. A child is in utter innocence. That is the right heart one should have. With the passage of time, as we age, we want to be wise. We study, we work, mingle in the community, get all regional, national, linguistic, international, political, commercial factions, divisions among ourselves, and reach the state ignorance. So we travel from innocence to ignorance, because all that we boast of is worthless. All that we consider ourselves great is nothing after all. That's ignorance. Therefore, my friends, Jesus emphasizes on being innocent. Let you be innocent like a child in order to get into the gates of heaven. Matthew 18 chapter, verses 2 to 5. I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. You will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever, very important point, therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Child is so humble. Child doesn't consider superior to anybody. The child doesn't want anybody to work under him. No. The child is so free. Nothing to rule, nothing to dominate, nothing to be egoistic. Therefore, unless you humble yourself, meaning forget all that ego, forget all the bloody dignity, status, give up the scholarship, forget about it. Be like a child. Unless you humble yourself, you cannot get into the gates of heaven. You should be a child, says the Holy Scripture. Look at Bhagavan. He doesn't behave himself as a God incarnate. No, like a child. Somebody brings the pen. He just takes away the cap. Very funny. As if he has never seen a pen like that. When anyone shows a chocolate, he will take out the wrapper. Very good, beautiful packing. Like a child, he plays like anything. Why, you may not believe when I say it may look silly, but yet, you know the Jaguar car acquired that the Swami has, Jaguar red car. It was newly acquired at the time. When I was in Vrindavan, Swami wanted me to get into the car. I sat by his side. And there are windows, glass windows on either side. He said, Anil Kumar, you say up. The glass will get up. I said up. Sorry, have you seen him? Swami was playing. Oh, very fine, Swami. Swami, I want to say down. I say, And Swami said, Anil, this is your seat. You want to go forward? Yes. Say, move. I said, move. Hey. And finally said, hey, switches buttons are here, he says. Buttons are here. See, he plays. Everything is divine sport, you see. That's why he's God. Because we think, I know, this is killing our life. I know everything. I know what is behind. What do you know behind? What do you know in front? We do not know that we do not know. That is the tragedy. The feeling that I know is a curse. We lose the mystery of life. We lose the beauty of life. The mystical aspect of life, because we have got to feel, I know. You lose the charm. Therefore, my friends, you should humble yourself like Bhagavan. When boys speak in front of him, whether good or bad, he goes on listening in rapt attention. That is meaningless to me. To Swami, it's very interesting. And he watches dramas of our college boys. He attends every rehearsal. Every time he sees as if he is watching for the first time. Or this 100th time he is seeing. Very, very interesting. Nobody would believe if I tell these things. Because child. That childlike innocence is a divinity. To be like a child should be our sadhana, our effort. To be free from all prejudices, narrow parochial considerations, the dull-headedness, big-headedness. We should give up arrogance, ego. Be free like a child. That's what he says. Another point I should bring to your attention. Once it so happened, so many people are there, and a rich man was waiting for an interview. A very rich man. Swami nicely ignored him. Nicely. And he brought some very big car all the way from Canada. He made him stand for 3 days, day and night. Asked why, Swami? Bhagavan says, you cannot attract me by your riches or possessions. I will not submit myself to your money and position and authority now. So what should I do? Give up all the tendency here. Give up. The greatness lies in giving up, not in getting. Getting is normal. Giving is spiritual. Giving is spiritual. Getting is human. Giving is divine. Therefore, we should learn to sacrifice. We should learn to give. It was Shirdi Bhagavan, the earlier incarnation of Baba. A gentleman came and said, Baba, please tell me the way to liberation. As if it's some instant food or instant coffee. You know what Baba said, Shirdi Bhagavan? Yes. That liberation is in your pocket now. What pocket? Yes. It is in the form of 500 rupee currency note in your pocket. Then you understand, pocket. You first give it up, then you will get liberation. You get liberation when once you sacrifice 500 rupees first. It means so long we are attached to the money, the chair, possessions, acquisitions. Nothing will happen. God will not be pleased by these things. It is very clear. Matthew's Gospel, 19th chapter, verse 61. If you want to be perfect, go, sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. Then come and follow me. There are many people that say, I am not able to settle here in Prashantalayam. There are many that say, I cannot be here. There are some that stay and get out. Why? We are not able to give up our positions. We are not able to give up our wealth. We are not able to share our properties. We want to have them all. As the Holy Bible says, God and mammon cannot go together. Or as the proverb goes, you cannot have the cake and eat it too. You can't have the cake and eat it too. Likewise, you can have the world, can't have the world, and God in both of your pockets is not possible. One has to sacrifice to be with God. One has to sacrifice to work for God. He has to sacrifice everything to be in God. He should lose his identity to be in God. That's what it meant. Bhagavan always, while speaking to devotees, he says, your heart is only a single sofa. It is not a double sofa set. It is not a musical chair. In musical chair, people go on running around until one finds it. In double sofa set, two one can sit. But Baba says, your heart is only single sofa. Only one can sit, not many people. It is not any parliament where anybody can sit. No. Only one to be seated. Who? God, no one else. Single sofa set. It means you love God more than anybody else. You may have many things, but most belongs to God. That's what he said in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 22, verse 37. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Love your God with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your heart. So that the heart will have seat for God only, nobody else. My soul is one with Him, the cosmic soul. I am not separate. My mind is with Him. Mind melted. The mind merged in the divine thought. Love God with all your mind, heart and soul. That's what Bhagavan said in one of his poems. Oh God, I offer my heart to you because it belongs to you. When you have given me that heart, it was so pure, so clean. I would like to offer this heart back to you as you have given me then. He gives one example also. When you get some utensils to perform marriages at our residences for lunch and dinner on a mass scale, we hire utensils from shops. At the end of dinner or lunch, we clean them and give them back return. If you return in a damaged condition, he will not accept. You have to pay full demurrages, with penalty possible. So similarly, you have to return as you have taken. Similarly, Baba says that we should pray this way. Oh God, oh Bhagavan, I offer my heart to you as you have given me, as you have gifted me, as pure, as clean, as sacred as you have given me. Because it's my duty to clean my heart. Because so much got collected in this vessel of my heart, in the cup of my heart. Let me clean it. That is sadhana. Some people say sadhana means I'm getting cool breeze, I'm getting so many pictures, I feel that I'm in heaven. That's all nonsense. Better I be a little bit away from you, so that I too would not be as mad as yourself, if not more. It's not like that. Sadhana is cleaning process. What is cleaning? Your heart. Why? God gave you in a perfect condition, and we were successful in making it imperfect. Another example Baba gives is this. We purchased white shirt from the garment shop. The white shirt is so bright like lightning. As I start wearing every day, what will happen? It will turn brown in its color. What am I to do? Clean it, petrol wash, and make it as white as it was on the day of the purchase. This is sadhana. So, to make our heart pure and sacred and clean is the sadhana. Not adding some more dust, not adding some more dirt. That's what it is. So it is very clearly said, be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men. This is a very important point. My friends, most of us have got this weakness. I don't say all of us. I can dare say most of us. We fish for compliments. We want everybody to appreciate. You are nice. Oh, good. You are brilliant. You are an intellectual, though he is not. You look handsome, though he is ugly. You are a man of wisdom, but he is absolutely a fool. So everyone wants compliments, praises. This is our weakness. If we just cross over this weakness, yes, we have traveled 50% along the path of sadhana. 50% you have traveled already. When once we ignore the praises and compliments. That's why Swami says, suppose when I start distributing prasadam and all that, suddenly he will come and say, show master, show master. Show, you want to show everybody. Or if anything is done in such a way, exhibition, he says. And suddenly in the veranda, behind the pillar, without the notice of anybody, he gives some watch or ring to somebody. Why? He can do it before everybody. Not show. Swami's miracles are not showpieces, my friends. They are not the pieces of the exhibition. They are the proofs of his divinity. It is not pradarshan, exhibition. It is nidarshan, proof of his divinity. Therefore, Jesus Christ clearly says here, don't pray loudly. Because when all of you are silent, if I start doing bhajan loudly, means I want to draw your attention. And Jesus says, such loud prayer when others are silent will never reach God because it reached other people already. He doesn't want second-hander. And Jesus further says, what the right hand does, left hand should not know. But we are not like that. So-and-so has given so much, should be announced, advertised, published on the title sheet of the newspaper. It will not reach God because you wanted publicity, you got it, that's all. God wants a simplicity, but not publicity. Let us understand it. Therefore, whatever you give, whatever you do, is not for publicity. It is for God. It should be done silently. It should be done silently such that God within you will listen and bless you. You want His blessings within. You don't want praises without. That's what it is said. Matthew's Gospel, 6th chapter, verses 1 to 6. Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. Clear statement. There cannot be any argument or anything on this. It's very, very clear. So, when you give to the needy, do not announce it with the trumpets. Because we are capable of it. That's what we do even this day. Lord said long back, don't announce it, oh, I'm going to give this. No announcements with the trumpet. As hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets to be honored by men. No, no, no. When you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So that your giving may be in secret. So that your giving may be in secret. It is not for the public. Then what happens? Then your Father who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. What is done in secret will reward you. One example. One gentleman came to Swami, quite old gentleman. Swami called him for an interview. This old man is quite frank. He said, I don't know why you called me. I don't know, Swami, why you called me. Swami laughed. This man should have kept quiet. He went on to say, Swami, I don't believe you. I don't know still why you call me. I don't believe you. I have no faith in you. Then Baba looked straight at him and said, when I visited your village 40 years ago, you never cared to see me, but you were serving water, buttermilk to many, many people who came to see me. That service brought you here. 40 years ago, he supplied water to all those that came to see Swami. That made him deserve interview. So all those that we do in secret will get into the notice of good Lord. Therefore, this is what is required. Things have to be done in secrecy. That's what the Bible clearly says. Then another, but this is very difficult. To love those that love you, yes, naturally. You cannot hate those that love you, can you? Then you must be a separate class for yourself. Separate class for yourself. Usually we love those that love us. But Jesus wants you to love your enemies also. No, we are not prepared to do that. No, we are very sorry. We must say sorry to Jesus. Oh Lord, please accept this. Baba goes one step further. Be thankful to your enemies. Thankful? What? To be a successful enemy? No, Baba says you should be thankful to your enemy because he is your speed breaker. He tells you what you should not do because he will immediately point out. He will immediately criticize. Therefore, you will be always watchful. You will always guard yourself without committing mistakes because the enemies are watching you. So, for your success, enemies are contributing. So, you should be thankful to him. So, here it is clearly says, Matthew's Gospel, 5th chapter, verses 44-45. Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. Suppose if my boss kicks me out, I should pray for him. How difficult, I don't know why God says those impossible things. So, my friends, we have to love our enemies. Pray for those that persecute us. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Greet only your brothers. What are you doing more than others? Be perfect. Therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. My friends, we'll continue the talk next week until the commencement of the next year. I think we have 2 Sundays more and we'll be thinking along these lines. May Bhagavan bless you. In advance, Merry Christmas to all of you. Sai Ram. Asatoma Sagamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyorma सुखिनो भवन्तु। शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सच्चाई बाबा जी की जय। बोलो भगवान श्री सच्चाई बाबा जी की लाउडा जय। बोलो भगवान श्री सच्चाई बाबा जी की। थैंक यू।
Oh